I've been so busy concentrating, picking through all these rocks, I haven't noticed that there's blazing blue sky, ready for the ascent, baking hot ascent up to Sgurr, which is going to follow the lines of compacted snow all the way to the top. Suddenly it's like a very warm spring day, and it's, I'm not going to wish for wind. It's lovely when you don't get wind, but at the same time, oh, it's hot. Well, perhaps it wasn't such a good idea just to wear black today either. Well, I'm not complaining. Oh man, it's so hot. I actually got a lighter blue top in my bag, but I'll wait until I get to the top, until I've completely sweated in this one for a change. Oh, good grief. It's difficult at this time of year to figure out exactly what clothes you should wear, because it's certainly in the morning and in the wind, when the sun went in behind the clouds, it was quite cold. I was glad. I mean, I've got fleece lined trousers on, but now it's too much. I need zip off shorts, that's what I need. I need legs I can remove on it. God. This is the first time actually I felt warm since the autumn, I think. Certainly on a hill. I haven't actually had haven't been able to sit down on the hill and essentially just be in a t-shirt. This is the first time in months. And it's nice, but I'm still not ready to give up on winter. I think Easter has to come and go before I'll finally concede that winter is gone for another year. Oh, last few metres. Well, mercifully the sun's gone in for the ascent. Oh, there we go. Sister number 2. Sgurr. And the way down, that way, to the next one. Up there. You can see the path zigzagging its way up here. Once you get to the top, you have to sort of come down this way before shooting forwards again. And still, there is no wind. I've done a few blogs when it's been like this, or at least there's been moments when there's been very little wind, and I'm always saying how rare it is, and it is. I mean, it's quite freaky to be stood here amongst snow, up high, over a kilometre up in Scotland, and not be having to shout, I suppose, at the camera to be heard. I did bring my big fluffy external microphone with me, just in case, but I don't think I'm going to need it. Getting nice views now of the saddle, which is pretty much the one big hill in Glenshiel I've not done. It very famously has a ridge called the Fhuaran Ridge, which is this here. Famously narrow, like a knife edge. Apparently you can avoid the difficulties, but it's part of the fun, I suppose, part of the joy in tackling the saddle is that most people want to go up the severe route, the Fhuaran Ridge, up the knife edge ridge. I'll get up it one day, but probably not when it's one as snowy as this. I did ponder going up there today, but given how slippy the rock is, with a very thin covering of snow, it probably wasn't sensible. Certainly not by myself, anyway. Right, let's see about getting down this one. Up the next one. Looks a bit of a beast to get up. Right, another change. Crampons on, crampons off, crampons on, crampons off. The merry-go-round continues, because now that I'm into this north-facing slope, it's all very still very snowy and compacted and hard. And whereas you could probably just trot down any route you wanted over these boulders in summer, and in winter, once it's all compacted, it's all a bit more serious. So it's crampons and ice axe time, so I can pick away down and along here. And then once I get right to the lowest point, the Bealach there, crampons off, and there's pretty much a rocky path that goes all the way to the top. And then I imagine I'll need my crampons on the other side of that. It is a bit of faff, but it's better to be safe, it's better to be alive than inconvenienced. And that's it. My footprint's coming down there. Barely 5 minutes, but it's just that little bit there because it's so hard that your boots would just slip completely on it, because it's just ice and there's a very thin layer of snow on top, but it's very hard. It's just compacted snow underneath. So that's all it was, just that really. But you can't avoid it on days like this when the terrain is like that. It's just especially this time of year, March, when you've only got these big patches left, and all it takes is for one of those to be strewn across the slope that you want to cross, and that's it. If you haven't got your crampons with you, that might be the end of your walk. And if you try to cross it, that could be the end of a great deal more. So it's always worth taking them with you, even when snow isn't falling anymore on the hills. I got into trouble actually on the Mamors. It was April, quite a few years ago now, but couldn't see any snow from down below, down in the glen, and I went up, I had my ice axe and my crampons in my car, but I left them in the car because I thought, oh, there's no snow, I don't need them. But I got onto top of Binham Moor and was coming down, wanted to go down the ridge to go up Binham Beg and Sgurr Elder Moor, you know, those ones at the eastern end of the Mamors. And it was like this, it was too hard for me to go down without crampons, so I couldn't go down the ridges, so I ended up going down the corrie in between the ridges and getting into a lot of trouble. Thought I was going to die actually at one point. I remember thinking, because I was in a chute and I committed my leg to a rock that was sticking out of, it was like a ledge, quite a big rock, and I was just sliding down this chimney, committed my leg to a rock, it gave way, pulled my leg up underneath me and outwards, and I heard something snap. And I pushed out and held my fall, and my hands got quite bloodied. And I remember thinking as I was holding myself, no one's going to find me. I remember thinking, this is it, and it was a few split seconds, but the things that go through your head, it's a bit of a cliche to say it, but it's true, and these lots of bizarre thoughts rush through your head. I just remember being very disappointed with myself, because it was the only time I hadn't brought my mobile phone with me, I hadn't brought my crampons or ice axe with me, and it was, for some strange reason, it was the first time in years that I'd not left information with people as to where I was going. Usually, at the very least, because I lived by myself, so I would put my route map on the dashboard of my car, so that if somebody found the car and wondered what I was doing, it said on the piece of paper on the dashboard, I will be back, you know, in 8 hours or something. And yeah, I was just really annoyed at myself and thinking no one would find me. But I managed to sort of fall outwards onto another ledge to safety, and I had sprained my knee really badly and had to hobble all the way back. And then when I got to I was standing in burns all the way back to try and cool the leg, to try and you know, reduce the swelling. Every time I found the burn, I'd go and stand in it up to my thighs for 10 minutes if I could stand it. And then I got back to the car, drove all 2 hours back to Edinburgh, 3 hours back to Edinburgh. And when I got out the car, at the other end, I sort of opened the door, it was my right leg, stepped out of the car and fell on the ground because I couldn't take any weight at all. So that was my lesson learned the hard way, that you really do need to take ice axe and crampons, even when you can't see the snow from the glen. If you've got any remote inkling that there might be old snow, if there are big mountains like the Mamors, the Grey Corries, Ben Nevis, the Cairngorms, and you're going up ridges, it's sensible to take them with you. There we go. There's a lesson. Right. Almost about to start. Oh God! Enormous, great big hole in the ground. Almost about to start this haul up to Sgurr. This is the last big hill of the day. Number 3, sister number 3. Wonderful views out down the lower end of Glen Shiel now. It's beautiful. Dorney is further up there. Morvik is sort of tucked around this notch in here. I can start to be able to see Skye now. I can see those two Corbetts on the just southeast of Broadford, and I can see the Red Hills way out in the distance. So it's a bit too hazy for the camera, but the view is starting to open up. It looks like it's clearing a bit. Certainly they said it was going to be better out in the northwest, and that certainly seems to be the case. And I still haven't seen anyone. There's no sign of anyone. But yeah, I do. I don't mind bumping into people in the hills. It depends how long I've gone without actually seeing anyone and how remote it is. I look forward to it. It can be a pleasurable thing sometimes, and I've always had really nice chats and with some really interesting people. But you can't really beat walking on a day like this down ridges like this where there's no footprints at all. It just reinforces that sense of you're doing something out of the ordinary, and nobody else has been there today. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. Oh, I've been going for hours. I've only done 2 sisters. Sisters are doing it for themselves, standing on their own 2 feet. Ba-da-ba-ba-da, I don't know the rest of the words. Didn't like the rhythmics once they got past into that stage. After they left the synthesizers at home, after they put the synthesizers away, I wasn't really interested. You know, now I'm actually at the bottom, it doesn't look too bad. Famous last words. That's where I've come down from. That's where I've come from across. And it's time to take the crampons off again. I mean, you can keep these, you can keep crampons on, but like I say, they can be a threat to your safety. But also, once you're not actually walking on firm, hard snow or ice, if it's thin snow, you start damaging the vegetation, which is quite sensitive at altitude. So if you don't need them on, do take them off. Right, I am ready. Just have a fix of tablet. Oh, sugar rush to get me up the hill. It's like popping pills. Right. Wonderful views back now to Sgùrr. Looks, it's funny how white it is compared to this. You see how devoid of snow it is. It's like I was saying earlier, how you have these north and east facing slopes that don't get the sun so much or at all during the winter, and the snow accumulates there readily, and it's so much colder. And today coming up, I mean, this snow here is really soft now, but the same snow over there when I was coming down there or in these shadows will be absolutely rock hard. Makes a big difference having the sun on this time of year. Looks amazing though. Right. Just making excuses to stop and have a blether. Ugh. Well, it's not so bad in terms of distance and effort, but it's really slippy. Again, in normal summer conditions it wouldn't be a problem, it would just be quite steep. But everything's very, very slippy. I'm glad I'm not going down that anyway. Almost there. This is the highest hill around here, so the views are really opening up now. It's starting to feel like you're getting above everything else. You can tell from how slow my steps are what an effort it's been to get up, but look at the top. And what's nice is there's no false summits. No, having your spirits raised and then dashed as what you think is the summit comes into view. Just emerged up just then, and there it was, just like that. I do like a good pointy mountain-shaped mountain. Wow. Sister number 3. It'd be nice to sort of go over there, but I've got no idea how big this cornice is or where the end of the actual hill is. So I'm not going to go over there. Whatever. Far over there. What a view. I'm actually very glad I didn't go with my original plan of walking the 8 kilometres up Glenlicht, because to have got this to this point and having also walked another 8 or 9 kilometres for 2 or 3 hours, that's a bit much this time of year. Gets dark in a few hours. I've made the best use of, I mean, I was up early. I've made good use of the daylight, but it's still pushing it a day that long this time of year. But come end of April, May, you can get much longer days in the hills, and days like that are probably doable. But the thing to do with a day like that, actually, when you're walking in a big long distance up a glen only to come up onto a ridge and double back on yourself, is to stay down overnight. There's a bothy nearby. Take a tent, stay overnight. What's the point in rushing? Wow. It's actually it's fairly clear. It's a bit hazy in the background, but you're certainly getting the sense that you're up above pretty much everything else here, because you can see a long way. So much of the West Highlands is visible. It's very impressive. Wow. And you can actually see the whole length of the route that I've done. This is probably the last chance to see it, actually, because once you come off this hill it all disappears from view. But that was the pass where we came up here, came all the way along here, up Peak of the Spaniard, and then along Sgurr and Cìche, and then along and down here over Sgurr and Fhuaran, and then up here. Quite a long way. Certainly feeling it anyway. Yes, Crampon's on again. Just for going down this west ridge here, I have to go down here for a bit because it's too steep that way, and then I think you cut back right about that way and join the north ridge to go up to there. There's the 4th sister here, and the last one's over there. That was very steep and more than a little dicey. Well, I think that's probably the worst of it over now, certainly in snow. Just the 4th sister now, and again I apologise, I forget the Gaelic name for it, but I think it's Peak of the Arrows, or arrow-shaped peak, is it, or something like that, or spear-shaped peak, which for obvious reasons I'm imagining. But an amazing hill. I got a great photo of a pal of mine descending that hill, and it looks like he's about to tumble over the edge. It was a really, really great sort of monochrome winter photo that I'm really, really proud of. That was back in crumbs, November 2005, so it's been 9 years since I've been here. I've only ever been up these hills once, so I thought it was high time I went again. On that day it was winter and it was a bit snowy, and the visibility wasn't great, so it's nice to do it on a day like this when you actually see what you missed. And because I'd done them already, like I said, I was thinking about doing Ben Atto, which is this enormous bulk of a hill here. But even though I'd already done these ones, it was just too much of a lure, really, to resist. Ridge walking, proper ridge walking on a day like this, and now the sun's come out as well, and the light's getting lower. It's very, very beautiful. Some hills are just hills, I suppose. They're just big, bulky hills, much like Benvironment is over there. But some hills are just so very easy on the eye, and this is one of them. Just the way it's like a perfect, like a pyramid. Not from every angle, but certainly from this side, from this this viewpoint, looking at it like that, it's beautiful, beautiful hill. Final approach to number 4. Well, number 4. Oh, crumbs. Oh dear me. Still a way to go to the 5th one, which is up there. Thinking, do I want to do it? I'll see what the time's like. Gonna be down at the lock at 6:30. Figure out if I can make it there and back, and then down again in time to be picked up. Wow. Oh, you've got to love hills. Just imagine living in one of those countries where it doesn't have them. Think of the Netherlands, poor Netherlands. Oh my god, I'd go spare. No wonder you see so many Dutch cars coming off the ferry at Rosyth. Can't say I blame them. Well, it's 4 o'clock. I can probably get over there in time to get down again. But time for tea and cake. That's my first tea and cake stop all day. Cheers! Oh, that's a hell of a drop. It's just so strange how it's spring on this hill, on this slope, on this side. But then if you just go down there, it's definitely still winter in there. Just a space of a few meters. It's all because of the sun. As I said at the beginning of the day, it's because the sun gets starting to get strong this time of year. Oh crumbs, that's quite a big dip to get down to do the last one, and it looks like it might mean putting the crampons on again. Oh dear. Well, managed to find an easy way down, improbable as it looks, and now it's just a case of finding a way over this undulating plateau to go and see sister number 5. I'd rather it was just a straight slog up a steady slope than one of these rambling full summit things to finish, but that's just the way it is. It's funny, this final sister is nothing like the previous 4. It's quite a lovely thing to walk through actually, this sort of rocky, almost like a little glen. And it's quite nice to be in the shade. Now that, as expected, the day has ended better than it began, which is so often the way. Oh, we've done it! Number 5. Five Sisters. Done! And you can see Sgurr Fhuaran, where we were not that long ago. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it's quite a way, looking just utterly immense. Looks amazing at the end of the day in this light. Well, that was, well, I say was, I mean, I've still got to get down. But up to this point, that was epic, I think is the right word. A real classic. I mean, it's hard work under these conditions with slippery rocks and snow and faffing about with crampons. So if it's 5 o'clock now, what's what? That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours to this point. So it's going to be 10 something by the time I get back down. And I haven't rushed though by any means, but I haven't hung about either. I haven't really stopped much. So it's quite a tiring walk, quite a long one. Some people do the whole ridge with the brothers as well. I mean, that's just an immense walk, one for the summer. But anyway, time to head down.